you're going to disrespect our people that are put here.
Tonight, a video going viral has sparked outrage about a downtown Winnipeg hotel.
We did it out of 100% just complete concern about our university adopting this kind of approach.
Plus, a proposed Indigenous identity verification process at Dalhousie University is being criticized. An artist is seeing his work come to life in downtown Vancouver. Good evening and welcome to APTN National News. I'm Savannah Kelly. Week 2 of the inquest into the mass stabbings on James Smith Cree Nation began today. Reporter Rachel May has a brief summary of last week and what happened Monday.
Last week, we heard mostly from RCMP Staff Sergeant Robin Zentner with the RCMP Major Crimes Unit as he gave a detailed timeline of what exactly happened September 4th, 2022. The 11 people who were killed and 17 others who were injured have been represented by family members with standing and lawyers who have been grilling the RCMP staff with questions about their response. We also heard from Vanessa Burns, the ex-partner of Miles Sanderson, the lone killer in the attacks, and Skye Sanderson, the wife of Damien Sanderson, one of the accused and the first person to be killed by Miles. Staff Sergeant Robin Zentner came back to the stand today. He provided clarity on evidence that was given by a witness last week. The evidence in question stated there may have been additional calls to the RCMP in the hours leading up to the attacks. Zentner said that he couldn't find anything to validate those claims. We also heard from Saskatchewan Highway Patrol Inspector Alex Heron. Over the course of 6 days, 53 protective service officers assisted RCMP officers. Most of the help was on James Smith. Director of Emergency Medical Services North, Sherry Julays, spoke about her organization's response to the mass stabbings. All 3 of the province's air ambulance aircrafts went out for critical care transport. In addition to them, 10 emergency medical service crews responded. At times, multiple victims were in ambulances to ensure people made it to the hospital in time to receive care. Tomorrow, we're expected to hear from Federal Corrections and the Parole Board of Canada. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
There have been numerous developments over an RCMP raid on Wet'suwet'en territory. The police action happened in November 2021, and it is now part of a British Columbia Supreme Court hearing that has been unfolding in Smithers. The testimony has been explosive and has also included an apology from a high-ranking RCMP officer. Amanda Follett-Hosgood is a reporter with the Tyee and has been covering the hearings. Amanda, thank you for being with us today. Can you tell us why these BC Supreme Court hearings are happening?
So this goes back to some very high-profile police arrests on Wet'suwet'en territory in November of 2021. They followed about 2 months of Wet'suwet'en and other supporters blocking access to a Coastal GasLink pipeline work site. And then things escalated where somebody had blocked access to the road into the area, blocked access to a work camp, and that's when police moved in, and they took 2 days to arrest people. So Crown prosecutors went on to lay criminal charges against some of those people, and 3 of them are currently standing trial here in Smithers.
And who has been testifying and what's been heard so far?
Well, people might know Slato Molly Wickham. She's a Wet'suwet'en Nation member. She's been involved in this going back 5 years, very high profile. Shaylin Sampson, who is Gitxsan, from a community that also has close Wet'suwet'en ties, and Corey Jocko, who is from the Haudenosaunee in Ontario. So they were all arrested on November 19th, 2021. And the first week we heard evidence from Crown that had to prove that they knew that there was this injunction barring anyone from blocking access to the pipeline route, that they knew about the injunction and they had intentionally defied it. And so at the end of the first week, so this is going back a week and a half now, the judge determined that there was enough evidence to convict them. But then he went on to consider an application to stay those charges based on police conduct during the arrests. So we heard evidence on that all of last week. It was meant to wrap up at the end of last week, and it looks like it'll go another week, maybe 2 weeks. Right now we're looking at dates scheduled into June.
And what's been the reaction to some of this testimony and the apology from the RCMP commander?
It's been really interesting what's come out about the behind the scenes of the police arrests. So we've learned that police talked about things like gassing people out of the small structures where they were next to the pipeline route. They talked about sending in a police dog to drag people out of the structure. They were using lethal force overwatch, which basically means snipers that were told that they had permission to shoot to kill if anybody stepped out of line. There's been a big reaction to that. Midway through last week, we heard some recordings that were inadvertently captured by equipment that was confiscated by journalists who were arrested at the same time. And some of those recordings were really hard to hear. We heard an officer who was mocking Slado and Shaylin Sampson for face paint that they were wearing to recognize missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. We heard another officer sharing a story about a man who had been, lots of coarse language, but he spoke about him having the crap beat out of him the day before. And maybe most disturbing was the other officer's laughter as he told that story. So it'll be interesting to see what the judge makes of all of that. I don't know how that will play into his decision around whether the charges should hold or whether they will be dismissed based on some of that conduct.
Well, Amanda, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much for taking some time to join us and kind of explain what's been going on in BC.
It's great to chat with you, Savannah.
In Winnipeg, a TikTok video that shows an Indigenous woman who appears to be zip-tied by staff of a downtown hotel is sparking outrage. Over 100 people gathered to show support and occupy the hotel's lobby on Sunday. APTN's Tamara Pimentel was there.
This video taken Christmas Day shows staff of the Marlborough Hotel zip-tying and restraining an Indigenous woman from leaving the premises. The woman can be heard sobbing while saying the men assaulted her. The video went viral over the weekend, sparking outrage and a gathering of well over 100 people. Supporters of the woman piled into the hotel lobby demanding justice. The Marlborough is one of many hotels in Winnipeg used within the Jordan's Principal program, where band members from remote communities stay while accessing health care. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs say it has immediately terminated its business relationship with the hotel. Grand Chiefs Kathy Merrick and Garrison Settee called the incident inhumane.
We'll make sure that they know the culture of our people that are put here. They are no longer going to disrespect our people that are put here.
We're not going to arrest until we know for a fact that everything that has happened to her, that she has justice, she has the dignity and the respect to be treated as a human being.
A statement from the Marlborough Hotel reads in part, an intoxicated female began brandishing a knife in our hotel lobby and threatening our guests and staff. Winnipeg police were immediately called and advised us to protect our guests and staff, which we did using risk constraints on this individual. Winnipeg police have a similar story. In an email to APTN, they say officers were called to the hotel to help remove a female loitering in the premises at 10:30 in the morning, but police could not attend at the time. By 1 p.m., police still hadn't arrived. The WPS email states, when again asked to leave by staff, the female pulled out a knife, attempting to stab a staff member. Staff members disarmed the female suspect, placed her in restraints, and prevented her from leaving until police members arrived. The woman was taken into custody and charged with assault with a weapon. Police say the use of restraints were justified. But within the comments of the video, a woman wrote, "To the people asking if that's me in the video, yes, it is. They tried taking me downstairs while I was passed out in the restaurant waiting for my brother, saying they were going to rape and kill me."
We can no longer allow our people to be treated and disrespected like this.
Winnipeg police say it is committed to investigating all allegations and will provide accurate information as the investigation progresses. Outside of the hotel, protesters say they want answers regarding the video.
As a father, just to see the image of a young girl being hogtied is disturbing.
People who come to the city for care should know that they're going to be safe here, and every single Canadian needs to stand up and say, this is not okay.
Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Dementia is a growing public health issue for Indigenous people in Canada, says a new study released today by the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. It's titled The Landmark Study, The Many Faces of Dementia in Canada, and it reports that the number of Indigenous people living with dementia in Canada will increase by 273% by the year 2050. The study says that in 2020, an estimated 10,800 Indigenous people were living with dementia across the country. That number is expected to almost quadruple to 40,300 cases by 2050. That 273% increase is much higher than the 187% increase expected for the general population. The study states that colonization is a root factor of dementia risk and other health problems in Indigenous populations, like diabetes and depression, which also increases dementia risk. We need to take a quick break here on the news. When we come back, two Mi'kmaq lawyers who criticized Dalhousie University's proposed Indigenous verification process received backlash from the Innu Nation. Welcome back to APTN National News. Some universities have a problem with people using false claims of being Indigenous to get jobs, scholarships, or bursaries. Dalhousie University in Halifax has developed a verification process. Two Mi'kmaq law professors are criticizing the process, but as Angel Moore explains, that's led to backlash from the Innu Nation of Labrador.
It's been a lot of, we faced backlash and, for this, so it's not been easy.
Naomi Metallic is talking about criticisms from the Innu Nation after she and her colleague Cheryl Simon took Dalhousie University to task for its approach to dealing with identity fraud.
But we did it out of 100% just complete concern about our university adopting this kind of approach and the harm it was doing to people.
Because last fall, Dalhousie released a report called Understanding Our Roots, a task force on settler misappropriation of Indigenous identity. Its recommendations to verify Indigenous identity include status cards from federally recognized First Nations, as well as non-status applicants must provide written confirmation of membership with a federally recognized band or tribal authority in the U.S. or Canada. Metallic interprets that as First Nations having the authority to determine if non-status people can claim indigeneity.
It is more sort of structured. It's a status card, and if not a status card, then membership in a formal community. And so, at least as how I read it, I don't see lots of sort of opportunities beyond those sort of things.
Metallic and Simon co-authored a 75-page human rights and legal analysis of Dalhousie's proposed recommendations. They argue that the recommendations could potentially exclude a group such as the Nunatuavut Community Council, or NCC, whose members are not officially recognized federally.
And so we say, look to a bunch of different factors. Look at what's going on in the courts. We do cite cases, and those can be independently verified, and people can go then look at them and then say, well, if that's been overruled, they can say so publicly. But we did, to our knowledge, cite the cases that we believe speak to NCC having a credible claim to Indigenous identity under Section 35.
Saying that the NCC has a credible claim to Indigenous identity caused Innu Nation Grand Chief Simon Poquet to write a letter to Dalhousie President Kim Brooks, which was CC'd to the presidents of 15 other universities. APTN News obtained a copy of the letter where Poquet writes, "It is discouraging to see NCC's claims given legitimacy while Innu concerns and the concerns of all Inuit of Canada are dismissed out of hand. These issues must be addressed with truth and integrity." The authors fall short of that standard by failing to disclose their conflict of interest and promoting the false assertions of NCC as truth while ignoring the Innu and Inuit. The alleged conflict of interest is Metallic and Simon's connection to a Halifax law firm, Burchell, Wickwire, and Bryson. It represents the Nunavut Community Council. Metallic is a practicing lawyer at Birchell.
We did it as academics. Yes, I have an association with Birchell's, but I've never represented the NCC. I have knowledge about NCC's claims because of my association with Birchell's and other work. I also have knowledge about all kinds of Indigenous groups throughout Canada because of the work that I've done.
And Simon's husband is a lawyer at Birchell and was legal counsel for NCC last November at a standing Senate committee in Ottawa.
My husband is a lawyer, yes, but there are safeguards that keep his client's interest and even his clients themselves. I actually don't even know all of the clients that he works for, nor can I. And so there is already professional safeguards that separate me, my work, my thinking from that of my husband.
Ultimately, it's not up to Dalhousie to decide who is or isn't Indigenous, says Patty Doyle-Bedwell, a Dalhousie University senator who represents the Indigenous Advisory Council.
How do we make that decision? And if we believe, as Indigenous people, we have the right to determine who our own members are, then if the Inuit people and the Innu people don't believe that the NCC are not Inuit, then how do we square that?
Despite the controversy, Metallic hopes the task force considers their report.
I think there's a broader conversation within nations, and we hope that what we wrote can help those conversations. But most immediately, it's about Dal and Dal's human rights obligations to people who are coming here.
In 2019, the federal government did sign an MOU with the NCC to recognize it as an Indigenous collective capable of holding Section 35 rights for the purpose of entering discussions regarding rights recognition and self-determination. However, the Innu Nation is currently fighting that recognition in federal court. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Jabuktuk, also known as Halifax.
We need to step aside for one more quick break, but still to come, an artist from British Columbia is taking his art to new heights. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Christopher B. Clark sent us this view of Sea Falls Rapids along Kishisipi, also known as the Nelson River, near Norway House Cree Nation in Manitoba. Thanks for sharing that great photo with us, Christopher. Send your photos to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting off on the east coast, -6 and snow in Halifax, 0 degrees in St. John's. Nain, sunshine and -13, Kuujjuaq, -26. Val-d'Or, sunshine, -11 there, Sept-Îles, -9. Sarnia, +1 there, North Bay, -5. Kapuskasing, sunshine and -14, Sioux Lookout, snowy, -5. God's Lake, -9 there, Puckatawagan, snowy and -14. Princess Harbour, -6, Gimli, -5. Swift Current, sunshine, 4 degrees, Saskatoon, -2. Stony Rapids, flurries, -16, Buffalo Narrows, -11. Snowy and -18 for High Level, sunshine, -16 for Peace River. Calgary, +6 degrees, Edmonton, -6. Vancouver, rainy and 8 degrees, Quesnel, snowy, +1. Fort Nelson, -19 there, Smithers, -1. Beaver Creek, -30 and sunshine, Rock River, -26. Wrigley, sunshine, -27 there, Fort Liard, -20. Colville Lake, -31, Tuktoyaktuk, -25. Baker Lake, flurries there, -27, Now Yet, sunshine, -29. Clyde River, -29 there, and Resolute, -29, sunshine. An artist from British Columbia has combined his love of animation along with his skills as an artist. The public can now view that creation in downtown Vancouver. Here's APTN's Tina House to tell us more about this amazing project.
We're here on the corner of Robson and Granville in downtown Vancouver. Joining me today is Austin Harry from the Squamish Nation. Austin, it's so exciting to see your artwork here up on the big screens behind us. How does it feel to see your work up there to the public and everybody can see how amazing you are as an artist?
Yeah, it's a really good feeling. I mean, it was in work for quite a while, and it's nice to see it finally come to fruition. And yeah, I'm just happy to share my culture with the people of Vancouver.
Your dad is a very well-known artist as well, Hulakton. He does incredible work. Tell me about the inspiration that your dad has given you to now become an artist yourself.
Yeah, I mean, my dad has been my mentor for pretty much as long as I can remember. He's taught me how to do the traditional forms, and he's always encouraged me to learn new tools and try and get out there and see what my calling is. And so, yeah, I'm very appreciative of him.
Amazing. Tell us about the story behind the art that we're seeing on the big screen here.
So what I wanted to do was superimpose Coast Salish supernatural beings with the landscapes of Vancouver to show the connection between the history and what's there now. So I have footage of Vancouver and also like mountains surrounding in the Lower Mainland area, just to kind of show the connection and bridge the gap between the supernatural and the natural.
Amazing. And to see your work literally fly, I mean, to be able to put that with animation, what's that like for you, and how long did it take you to make that happen?
Yeah, it's unreal, really. It's yeah, it was a long process. I mean, there's no easy way of doing animation, but yeah, it's just unreal.
When you're doing your artwork, how does it feel for you, and what comes to mind when you're busy and coming up with your creative ideas?
It's like what my dad always taught me, is that sometimes if you're just kind of feeling stuck with your artwork, you just kind of sit there and be with it. And he says that sometimes like the creator or your ancestors will come through you when you're making the art. And I kind of took that to heart, because you get stuck in a lot of ruts when you're doing art. And well, I've been working with my dad since I was a teenager, like 16. We took a graphic design class together, and yeah, I've been helping him with his projects, and I've always been the kind of tech guy, which kind of led to my animation background.
Any inspiring words for some young people out there that love to just draw and doodle and hope one day to see their work on the big screen like you?
Yeah, I guess my advice would be to just, keep going and keep looking for what's important to you and stay true to yourself. And if you keep going, one day it'll happen.
Amazing. Austin Harry, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Congratulations. This is really big.
Yeah,
congratulations. Thank you. Back to you in studio.
And if you're in the Vancouver area, you can check out Austin Harry's work in downtown Vancouver at Robson and Granville until February 26th. And that's all the time we have for your Monday news. For news anytime, head on over to our website at aptnnews.ca. I'm Savannah Kelly. Marcy Miigwech, thank you for joining us this evening. Have a great night.